I'm going to quickly run through the homework assignment. First of all, we're going to open a new project, and that'll be empty, just to start with a blank slate. And let's just look at the preferences and make sure the meters are where we want them to be. Yes foot, and I have the particle size a little bit larger. It'll be easier to see. Maybe I'll just make it even bigger. Might be too big, but we'll see. Okay. And the other thing we want to do is go into the settings here, and we want to make sure we include original audio files. This is really important. Do not forget this, because what you're going to be turning in is your sound particles project file, so it'll have all the media attached to it, so that way I could check it out that way. And we're going to go to I/O now and make sure that binaural output is checked. And I'm using Google Cube. Feel free to play around with the other ones if you'd like and see what sounds best to you. It's just really how you hear it in your headphones. It's not going to affect how it's exported. Okay, and the other thing we're going to do is we're going to change our mic system to multi-channel and 5.1. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to import the video. So File, Import Video, and import Sound Particles Assignment 1. Import entire video. We don't need the audio. I don't think there's any audio on it anyway right now. Click OK. The video up in this window here. Okay, so now we're going to add a new audio track. And we'll add the first bird sound, which would be the crow. You'll find 3 sounds. I don't have it set up yet, but you'll find 3 bird sounds in a folder for this project, for the assignment. It'll be the crow, the blue jay, and the flicker. Flicker apparently is some type of bird. Caleb might know about that since he was an Eagle Scout. The crow. You can shut this autoplay off if it annoys you. Every time you import something, it's going to play through the whole sound. Okay, so let's see where we have our first bird. The crow. Let's see, it's that guy flying across. You know, I'm actually going to change this. I'm not going to use the crow, so this will be a good example to show you how you could just change the sound, which is simple. I'm just going to click on the plus sign again, and I'm going to choose the flicker. And we imported that. So you see it just swapped out the crow for the flicker, so that's kind of cool. And I'm going to lower the volume on that. Okay, we want this to be this bird that's flying across in the distance. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see where we want it to start. So let's maybe once we start seeing the bird, like right there, where we want the sound to start. So I'll just drag the sound to that point. Okay. Cool, that sounds good. All right, and so now here we have the bird. So again, just to look at our objects, we have our microphone here. We have the bird up here. Oh my God, it's so much better with a bigger particle to indicate it. I've been using this for a long time with the particles really tiny. And it's like you have to discern between the particle on your screen or just a little fleck of dust. But now it's much better. Okay, so what we want is this bird to fly across. So let's start thinking in terms of like, well, how far away is it and how far across it is. Let's say this going from across here is, let's say 100 yards. Okay, so I'm going to just hold down the control key and I can zoom out a little bit. And I'm just going to zoom out till we get 10 yards there. Okay, so now each of these increments is going to equal 10 yards. So I'm going to drag it. 10 yards is 30 feet. Another 10 yards is 60 feet. Another 10 yards is 90 feet. So let's actually put it there, 60 feet. Cool. All right. And we're going to have it move across. So right now it's, how far away from it? It's 10 yards away, so 30 feet away. We're also going to make it a little farther from us too. There, okay. So right now it's 30 yards forward and 30 yards to the right. Now we're going to click on this plus sign, position, add a point. We added our keyframe there. Now we're going to go to the end of the bird, and we're going to just drag this guy across to there. Let's see. All right, let's see what that sounds like. Okay, not bad. except I think it needs to be a little farther. It might just be it's a very loud sound, so I'm also going to lower it here. Do -12. But I still want it farther sounding. So let's go to the first keyframe. You'll see why using the movement modifiers is a little easier when you have to make adjustments like this. And I'll go to the last keyframe, and I'll shift it back. Let's see. All right, that's what that sounds like. Okay, I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to go to Project Settings, and I'm going to change this attenuation to 9. Let's see what happens. Let's see if that sounds better. Yeah, that's sounding a little better. I'm going to go more. So this is how low it gets. Okay, so maybe 18 is too much. We'll go to 12. So basically what it's doing with as the distance doubles, it attenuates by 12 dB. Maybe 18 was better. We'll have to see how the other sounds work with this too, but it's something I've noticed with sound particles. That sounds right. Okay, cool. All right, so we have our first bird flying across. Hopefully everybody's cool with that. Next, I'm going to add another audio track. Actually, wait, let's name this. Okay, so I select it, and we can name it up here. We'll name it Crow. Great, okay. So we're going to, and I'm going to actually name this 5.1. 5.1. Because if we wanted to, we could actually add another microphone and be able to switch between the two and do a stereo version and a 5.1 version. Anyway, okay, so we're going to add another audio track. So we're going to import the Blue Jay this time. So to do that, we're going to click the plus sign. We'll go down to Blue Jay. Okay, so now we have the Blue Jay here. Okay, which is just right now, it's about 10 yards in front of us, right? So we're going to do this one with the straight line modifier. So this bird, let's see what this bird does. It's not the one that flies, let's see. All right, it's the one that flies from, there we go. You'll see it'll fly from back of us across the front of us. Okay, so we want it to kind of run this diagonal line from behind us across the front. So first thing we're going to do is let's line it up to where we want it to be. So I'm just moving the playhead to right there, I guess, before it appears, and then we'll drag the file there. Maybe a little bit before, because we want it to kind of come in off screen behind us. Okay, and then I'm going to take the sound itself and we'll move it. Remember, the microphone is right there in the middle. Let me name this thing too. Blue Jay. Okay. So it's going to start behind us. Right there. So that's 10 yards. So maybe we'll try it like kind of close to our head. So right now, let's see what this is. Let's go to a smaller scale. So if we start it like there, that's 4 yards, 4 times, that's 12 feet behind us. We'll try that. Okay, so it starts here. And so now I said we're not going to use keyframes, we're going to use a movement modifier. So we'll click on this little plus sign, straight line movement, add velocity. Okay, and let's just see, actually I think it's gonna, yeah, it kind of goes exactly in the direction we want, so it made our life really easy. Except if we switch to the side view, it's also going up, which we don't want it to go up. So how do we prevent that? We go down to where the z-axis is, because the z-axis is up and down, and we're going to put that at 0. Okay, so now you'll see it'll just not go any higher. And it is sort of at camera level, so I don't think we need to move it up or down. We want to keep it at the same level as the microphone. Okay, so let's see what we have now. Well, it's kind of okay, but it is sort of in front of us, right? So let's just shift it away and let's shift it that way. Let's see if that helps. It's pretty good, but I want it to maybe cut a little bit more. Not that way, but more that way. So we're going to adjust. Let's see which axis we're going to adjust. I'm going to adjust the y-axis. All right, so you notice it moved the dot. So now if we look, it's going to be maybe even, let's do it less than 8. We'll try 7. Okay. Let's see what that sounds like. Not bad. I think it's something about maybe the placement, or it's too close to us to start with. Yeah, let's do that actually. Let's have it start a little farther back. So the first sound is going to be when the bird is not on screen. Let's see how that sounds. I'm going to drag it back a little more. Let's see how this sounds. That's not terrible. I'm going to slow the movement down. That's moving it forward, so it'll slow the dot down a little bit. So I'm going to change the x value down to 7 as well. It's just coming too close to us, maybe. Let's move it out a little bit. That's kind of nice for what's on screen. It's going to move it a little further away. Okay, we'll go with that. So I'll add the final bird. Let's see what that is. There we go. And this one's coming pretty close to us, right across in front of us. So this will be the flicker bird. Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually the flicker here. The one we added in the distance. So this is going to be the crow, the one that's right across in front of us. So let's add a audio track, name it crow. Add it here. Okay, let's see, I show autoplay off, so it's not playing it again once we imported it. And let's see where this crow comes in. There's no way to frame by frame. You just have to kind of scroll across the timeline, which maybe they'll change that soon. Okay, so I see the crow appearing here. So let's drag this to where it starts maybe a little off camera. Cool. Okay, so we're going to make it a little bit closer to us, and of course add the movement. So here's the crow. Have it come down. So right now, this is 10 yards. That's 30 feet, so we definitely want it like somewhere around there. And move this a little bit this way, and we're going to use a straight line modifier again because I just like that better than keyframes. I think everybody else has a grasp on keyframes, so it makes sense to just review this by doing it one more time. So straight line movement, add velocity. Okay. It defaults to this 10 by 10 by 10. I'm going to set them all to 0. This is sort of the way I like doing it. Okay, so the bird is here. That's good. That's what we want. And we're going to do a movement from left to right. So that's the x-axis. Add 5 there. And we're going the wrong way. So how do we fix that? Well, simple. You just look at this value here and make it a -5. And now you'll see it'll move in the direction you want it to. Cool, let's see what that sounds like now. I'm going to mute these so we don't hear them, just so we can judge this one specifically. I kind of like that just right off the bat. Feels right. All right, let's see what it'll sound like. Okay, I'm not particularly thrilled with too close. So again, this is why I really like the straight line modifier. I know maybe I'm overselling it, but I don't have to worry about keyframes. I can just reposition this thing. See? And let's see what it sounds like now. That's pretty cool. I'm going to slow down the move. I think it's moving too fast still. So I'm going to look at these values here, and it's 7 and 7. Let's change them to 4 and 4. Let's see what that looks like. No, it's too slow. But I think better. I know. Well, it's more in a direction. Let's try 5. No, 6. And it might be a matter of making one of these different. Let's see. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Oops. All right, well, let's save it. Yeah, that's a good idea. SP. Here's how I want you to name it, by the way. Hellas. And whatever it is. I'm doing sound particles homework 1, but, you know. All right, great. Hope this helps you get through the assignment. So all I really want you to do are just add in the 3 birds spatially, save it, and this is what you're going to put onto OneDrive. I'll create a folder on OneDrive for the homework assignment. All right, just an addendum to the homework. When you go and open up the project, after you've saved it and closed out, you may get this dialog. That's okay. You can just click OK.